sore boss ass. And I think I have a reason why. But I want to know, first off, let's go around the room real quick. Owen, for a moment, if you can. First off, Tone, do you believe Shedeur should be the starter for the rest of the year?
Yeah, I think so.
Took you long enough to do.
If he implodes over the next few weeks, then you're not
but for the
he's not really even benefiting by being out there.
For the foreseeable rest of the year, should he be the starter? Okay, yes. Owen.
For all of 2025, because Week 18 is in 2026.
Okay. Okay. So I believe he should be the starter for the rest of the regular season. He has a higher ceiling. Can I pass along a theory to you? And I want to know, should Shedeur be guaranteed the rest of the season? 216-474-0092. Barring injury or just a complete failure, I just don't think... I think that you have a guy right now who I think is a little bit afraid to throw the football down the field, or at least throw to open windows, throw guys open. I think he's a little bit afraid to do it. He's not afraid to throw the football down the field to guys he knows who are open, but I think that he's afraid to throw to open windows because he doesn't want to turn the ball over, because I think that when you have backups playing in the season, he is one of them. Your first and foremost thing is to not turn the damn ball over. You don't care about anything else. Okay? If he were the number one pick, like Cam Ward, it might be a little bit different. However, I believe that he should be guaranteed the rest of the season for whatever the word guarantee means. I think I know a reason why Kevin won't say week to week. Because if you say that he's the starter the rest of the year, doesn't that call into question your third-round pick then? Doesn't that call into question the guy you took 2 rounds ahead? Like, why wouldn't he be the starter for the rest of the year?
I think we questioned it at the start of the year.
And
we're questioning it now.
And this is what my issue was when, and Andrew couldn't answer the question now because we're back into the season. But when you have to answer these questions and you really don't want to give an answer, it's just best to say, well, we're going to go week to week. I would feel that he's probably week to week for the rest of the year on Shedeur Sanders. Because then you get to a situation where you never have to go, yeah, we wasted our third-round pick. Because it would make you believe. Follow me on this. I don't want to think too deep, or I don't want to get too crazy in conspiracy theory land. Think with me on this. As long as you say week to week, like Shedeur could go out there and throw for 3 touchdowns and 300 yards coming up on Sunday against Tennessee. Tennessee's bad, we can hope. He could have a fantastic game, just fantastic. I think Kevin will still go out and say, yes, Shedeur is our starter next week. And then I think someone will go, is he guaranteed the rest of the year? And he will go, Shedeur is our starter week to week. He just ain't going to answer that question. It ain't going to happen.
How did he? I'm being totally honest here. I don't remember. How did he answer those questions when it was Dillon Gabriel?
I think that it was more week to week, was it not, or for the foreseeable future? I think it was more that. But
yeah, because I don't remember him saying anything definitive when Gabriel was the starter.
Because if you came out and you firmly said that he is our starter for the rest of the year, you might get to a point where you just don't care and you wouldn't go ahead and say it, fine. But then my immediate thought would be, if you're not winning, we just got all the time in the world to sit here and go over losses and big picture stuff, because that's what we do when our team's terrible and we're 3-9. We can only focus on the big picture, and that's fair. I would go, then why did you make that pick in the third round? I have so many other needs. Could I have taken an offensive lineman in the third round that I could maybe put in there? I mean, you're working in other offensive linemen now. That's a conversation for later in this show. Could I have taken another guy in the secondary? Could I have taken another linebacker? Could I have taken another defensive tackle? Could I have done something like that? Could I have taken a guy who was going to be able to contribute other than my guy who's going to be a career backup? And you took him 94th overall. Like, as long as I say week to week, there's still that possibility that, okay, Dillon could start next week. I don't think it's realistic, but there's still that possibility. Do you follow it all on that? Yeah. I don't want to go off on harebrained stuff.
Yeah, I think we're in agreement on that.
But the question is, should he be guaranteed then? It's not going to be said, but would you just guarantee him the rest of the year? And my issue is, yeah, we're sitting around here at 3-9. I don't think it's getting that much better here. I think one guy has a chance to have a high ceiling, and I need one guy. I need him to get me to believe something different about quarterbacks next year. And I want to give him chances. I don't believe Dillon Gabriel is going to give me the chance to believe that we don't need to take a quarterback next year. Shedeur, I think it's very, very thin tone, but he gives me a better chance.
From a team perspective, there has been the thought, let's be honest, let's not act like this wasn't out there and wasn't some of the prevailing thought at the time.
What?
That when they drafted Shedeur, it was an owner's pick. That the owner came in and said, what are we doing here? Like, why wouldn't we take him? Let's get some excitement around a team that's not really The focus,
Not
the
really
goal
exciting.
isn't really to just win games. Let's see if we can do this. And then if that was the case, then there's not been enough time to evaluate Dillon Gabriel as far as the front office is concerned. For me and you, we've been in agreement on Dillon Gabriel since moment one. Why'd you draft him? Overdrafted. There's not a lot here. But that's not what the organization thinks about him, right? Like, they haven't given up on him. They haven't given up on Dillon Gabriel.
No.
No. So then from their perspective, I could understand them saying, hey, if Shedeur goes out there this week and loses to, the worst team in football, or I think they're 27th in DVOA defensively.
They're really bad.
They're really bad.
They're really bad.
And if he doesn't look good against them, we need to see Gabriel again, because we have to make big decisions in this offseason. And we have 2 first-round picks. Like, do we go with the bridge quarterback? Do we draft one? Either way, we have to make sure that Dillon does not flash in any way. You and I would laugh, oh, Dillon Gabriel's going to flash. But they're the team that took him in the top 100. We didn't.
Yeah, so that would lead to their preconceived notions and their belief. Now we would go, well, you guys got this wrong, and this was a giant waste of time. And I think that a lot of people would probably agree with that. But, we're only outsiders. We don't look at it from the inside. Football people are very, very steadfast in their beliefs, and they really are steadfast in their beliefs on certain players that they take in the draft, especially in the top 100 of the draft. But I think if you were to come out and you were to say, well, he's the starter for the foreseeable future, then you lead yourself into other questions that you have to answer that you probably just don't want to answer when it comes to your quarterback, when it comes to the decision that you made. Because if I said he's the starter for the foreseeable future, and you turn right around and I go, Anthony Lyman, 92.3 The Fan, and you said, well, where does that lead Dillon Gabriel, and then why would you have taken Dillon Gabriel in the 3rd round and then have him as the starter for the rest of the year as the 5th round? Has it already shown that he was not worth the 3rd round pick? As eloquently as you can put it. I'm like a fist fight with that question, but you get what I'm saying. How do I answer that? How do I do that? Do I just say that Dillon is working his way through and we think it's the best thing for him to see it on the sidelines first? Okay, then do I trust him to even go into a game? Like, you open yourself to more questions that you do not.
Now,
he doesn't want to answer anything.
But
he
Kevin's
opens himself to more
vague,
questions.
vague as hell on that, right?
Yeah.
He's going to say we're going to just put our young players in the best positions possible.
But you see, I started hemming and hawing right there because I'm talking to you guys right off the cuff right now at 7 a.m. on a Tuesday. He's prepared for all this stuff. So it's in his best interest. They prepare him, and he knows this. That's why he doesn't answer anything. So that's why he's going to say he's our starter next week, and he's week to week as we go. Because he knows that I can't turn right around and ask him the question, have you wasted your 3rd round pick? Because he knows where he's going to go with that answer. Any coach in the NFL, whatever you think of Kevin, Tomlin, McVay, they need to know that. You don't open yourself up to have to answer questions you don't want to answer. And so you would go, well, what's the situation with Dillon? Dillon is continuing to improve, and he's ready to play when he's called upon. Would you ever go back to Dillon? Right now, going into next week, Shedeur is the starter, and that's what we're focused on. Simple. It's absolutely simple. And you could say that's BS. And I'm sure a lot of guys driving around, if they're not white-knuckling it right now because the roads are so bad, give yourself some extra time, folks. Say that's probably BS, but that's what he's going to answer with. But if I just say, well, Shedeur is the starter from here on out, whoa, you took who in the 3rd round then? You took what in the 3rd round? Yeah, that ain't going to wash with the fan base. 216-474-0092. Do you think that Shedeur, in your eyes, Kevin doesn't got to say it. He ain't going to say it. But in your eyes, should he be guaranteed the rest of the year? Because he's got to go out there and be horrific or hurt, God forbid, that he wouldn't play the rest of the year. Because I got one guy who I don't know how great of a chance it is. It's probably pretty slim. But I got one guy who I think that does have a higher ceiling, and I got another guy who I just don't.
Well, do you think when you saw some of the lack of awareness stuff from Shedeur last game, whether it was the 4th down,
can he improve on that? Are you asking? Yes.
What I'm wondering is if they see more of that and they're losing. Is there going to be some of Kevin that's like, yeah, he does make the nice throws once he gets out of the pocket, but if I can't trust him to have that awareness stuff and the anticipatory throws that we talked about, and you're seeing it with the all-22 out that he's flat out missing some guys wide open, or if he would just lead them a little bit and give that a chance, Does there come a point where he's like, he's going to lose guys? He might have some juice in the building, but if actually on the football field, like you got to have juice on the football field too.
So I got to throw something by you here. Well, I'm gonna get to this call, and you wanted me to answer this question. I didn't want to throw anything by you, I should say. I told you give me 5 minutes. You had asked, what if Shedeur does what? It plays poorly here over the next 5 games or anything like at any point, like really bad? Like what were you saying?
I said basically if he gives them no shot to win. Like I know I've thrown out the analytical stuff that shows he's the bottom of the NFL, statistically, but he's at least thrown in some the Fannin throw, the Bond throw, where you're like, oh, kind of like Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart statistically has not been good. But he's been given a pass because he's made these dazzling, amazing plays, even though you and I know he's not going to survive out there taking the hits that he has been taking. Last night, he got depleted.
Last night, he just got hammered.
But he had a 2-point conversion where he looked like Patrick Mahomes meets Lamar Jackson. Mm-hmm. So he keeps doing just enough to make you say, hey, he's got to be out there regardless of the stats.
Yes. Okay, so let me ask you this before I answer your question. Do you think that so you asked me if he's going out there and he's making mistakes, do you think that he can get better? Do I think he can get better and do that? Because I want to ask, do you think that Dillon Gabriel can improve upon those things?
Oh, I think Dillon Gabriel, I think any rookie. This is not just Dillon. I think any rookie can get better, including Shedeur.
Because this is where
time.
Yeah, this is where I have to control. That's where I have to compare the two. One, I'm not trying to be mean-spirited. I'm not trying to be unrealistic about Shedeur. As of right now, guys, we're drafting a quarterback in the first round. Get used to it. Can I be as blunt as possible? Mm-hmm. Okay, there it is. I got to give one of these guys the best chance to change my mind over the next 5 weeks. I think that one of them is more of a waste of time than the other one, and I think that I don't want my time wasted. If I'm going to watch a 3-9 football team go out and find ways to lose like they did on Sunday, I don't want my time wasted as much as it's not going to be as much as it's already wasted by watching them lose. I want to see the guy who I think has a higher ceiling. I want to see Shedeur. I think that if he can correct those mistakes, being a bigger guy, more accurate, et cetera, I think that would give you a better chance. That's what I believe. Now, I could look at it and go, both of these, if I really wanted to be nasty about it, both of these guys are career backups. We just got done at 640 talking about the noise that one guy's fiance just made on the internet, which I'm not a big fan of, I got to tell you. But one fan base is very, very strong. The other fan base is kind of non-existent in so many ways. One guy is probably more cut out to be a backup quarterback and just be seen and not heard or not even seen for the rest of his career. That might be taken into account. But again, I'm 3-9, so I'm trying to find anybody to try to change my mind on what I think this team is going to do in the future. That's what I want you to focus on changing my mind. If you can't do that, then I'm just going to draft a quarterback in the first round next year. And I might not even blame you for it. It might just be the way things are going to go. I don't want my time wasted. I would believe that Shedeur would have the better chance to improve on those things. Because there are things, guys, that you just can't deny.
But is there a bigger question? Are you and I wasting time talking about who should get starts on a team this bad when we're talking about how poorly, relative to the rest of the league,
in the grand scheme of things,
that Shedeur and Dillon Gabriel have played?
In the grand scheme of things,
and the fact they have 2 first-round picks.
Yes. Guys, the whole thing.
Does it kind of seem silly that we're even sitting here trying to argue
I don't know.
who should get time on this team the rest of the year?
Yeah, you know what I'm hoping for? I'm hoping, because like Drake May, I'm watching the game right now. Let me I'm going to go to the phones. 216-474-0092. Drake May. Did a lot of people feel that Drake May was going to be transcendent? Or were you maybe not paying attention because we had Deshaun Watson? That's always an out that you can use. But there are a lot of people calling in here saying that Drake May, whenever we did talk quarterbacks for that draft, was going to be a transcendent quarterback, because it looks like he's going to be a transcendent quarterback. Like he's going to be part of the great group of franchise 1%ers that go up in that upper echelon already. Now, that's a lot to say about a guy in year 2. But were there that many people saying it? Not as many as we've heard with other guys. Were there that many people saying it, maybe even with Jackson Dart? People really like Jackson Dart right now. Were there that many people saying it? Not really. So my goal is for this to all be a waste of time. And for next year, we have, take it, Dante Moore. where it's like, he does this well, but he doesn't do that well, and then all of a sudden he's taken off with the Browns. Because remember, if we gave Kevin Stefanski 2-time Coach of the Year because he was the head coach of the Browns, we're definitely going to overrate any quarterback that's able to get the Browns going, okay? So that's going to happen. So if like Dante Moore becomes this guy in November and the Browns are above 500 and they're in the hunt and he's looking good, I hope to look back at last December, which would be right now, and go, man, we wasted a lot of our own time talking about that. That'd be great. But that's up for Shedeur Sanders or Dillon Gabriel to change. And I think I'm going to give a better chance to Shedeur Sanders to do that. 216-474-0092. Mike in East Cleveland. You're first up on the Fan. Hello, Mike.
What's going on, Ken?
Hi,
hey,
Mike.
Man, listen, how you doing? I called weeks ago. I tried to calm you down on all this, so don't try to backtrack now. Because I've been trying to tell you, pump your brakes. You wanted to do Super Bowl, Super Browns.
Mike, what? Because they beat the Raiders? Of course I'm going to do Super Bowl, Super Browns.
No,
where have you been? How long have you listened to the show? Hold on. How long have you listened to the show, Mike?
About 5 years, 4 or 5 years.
5 years. So you know that we've done Super Bowl, Super Browns in good times and in bad.
Very true. But look, at some point we got to stop being jovial. And
that's called Tuesday.
We got to raise the bar. But anyway, to the point, listen, I just really wish we can finally have a quarterback that's not polarizing and divisive. Like we went through.
People in hell want ice water.
You're right about that. So I'm really just ready to move on. I think I've seen enough. Over 2 seasons at Colorado, a few games, and I'll see more of Shedeur. I think I've seen what he's going to be. He got all the traits of a bad quarterback. I'm not saying he's bad, but, holding the ball too long, taking sacks, not anticipating throws, which is going to lead to turnovers eventually. He got too many traits of what you would call a bad quarterback. Dillon, he's bad too, but at least he's quiet. I don't want to have to deal with the Shedeur fan base. And if I was in that room, I would have told any owner or GM.
Wait a minute. Is he? I think one guy's more quiet than the other. The other one's fan base is way louder, but he doesn't say boo to a goose. Meanwhile, I got Dillon Gabriel. Did Dillon Gabriel, did he or did he not drop the quote about being competitors?
He did.
We not just spend a segment talking about a TMZ article about one guy's fiance?
Hold on. It's your show. You get way more time to talk to me. Let me have my little 20 seconds.
You're having it, but I'm telling you what, one guy's been louder than the other guy.
No. I hear that, but even to that point, these people are human. So you can never blame Dillon Gabriel for finally firing back or his girlfriend. These people been attacked, man.
Blame Dillon Gabriel for anything he says. You and I can be blamed for anything we say. Why can't I blame Dillon Gabriel for anything he says? That's not how that works.
Hey, you're right. Do what you want. Your name on the show. But I can't blame them for firing back because these people constantly being bullied online. They're getting booed for just coming in the game. They're normal people. Eventually, you're gonna take up for yourself. Eventually. But I'm ready to be done with the whole experiment. Let's do like Cat Williams said. Not have a president for a while. Let's not have a quarterback for a while. Draft Carnell Tate. Draft the lineman because the Browns are so bad that it's not plug and play and get a quarterback and you good.
Then Carnell Tate's gonna be upset. You know how this is gonna go, Mike. What Carnell Tate? You think Carnell Tate's gonna be thrilled just running wind sprints next year?
Listen.
Nobody throwing to him?
Let him be for a year, and then you get a quarterback next year. But we need to move past this garbage. Like, if you want to roll with Sanders next year, I'm cool with that. If you want to roll with Dillon, I'm cool with that. I'm tired of this.
I'm not going to get into a draft discussion now, Mike, but for the love of God, you guys always want to do this.
I'll call you a Mark.
Fine. Call me then, because I'm going to give you the same answer then. I mean, how often do we have all these other pieces of what would be a good football team, but we don't have the main ingredient, and we never learn our lesson about it? You're going to keep taking swings until you actually have it. I'm telling you right now, there are definitely flaws within New England Patriots. You don't see the flaws within the New England Patriots right now. Why? Because the quarterback's good. There are flaws with the Kansas City Chiefs. The thing that keeps the Kansas City Chiefs above water is their quarterback is a Hall of Famer already. Now, I can't just guarantee you're going to go out and draft Patrick Mahomes or Drake May, but you're going to keep taking swings until you do. Or we're going to have another thing where we're going to go, man, Carnell Tate, he's so great. He's so amazing. It's a shame he doesn't have a quarterback. You know who we say that about right now? Myles Garrett. You know who we said about it before? Joe Thomas. We got to learn our lesson. Sorry, I'm not yelling at you, but I was yelling at you. What'd you want to ask me?
So we have definitely seen, after all the talk about practice reps and whatnot with Shedeur, I mean, Kevin Stefanski was in there answering questions yesterday about, his quarterback right now, the current starting quarterback, whether he has a chance to get better and all those things. And I've just seen so much in the way of national conversation still now. Because now, we're seeing Shedeur in games, and, some of the flaws are coming out. There have been some good things, too. Don't get me wrong. But, like the last caller just said, odds are you're going to draft a quarterback in the first round.
Yeah.
And then people are going to go after the Browns again, because that is going to be perceived as sabotaging Shedeur's chances.
Yeah.
When you and I both know that whoever comes in here is not really going to want Shedeur breathing down his neck. And so they're probably going to trade Shedeur, right? I mean, what are the odds you think Shedeur is the backup quarterback for a first-round pick next
They're
year?
going to trade him.
Oh, you think Shedeur would be here if they drafted somebody 5th overall, or if the Browns trade up to number 1 or number 2? You think Shedeur would still be here?
I know.
With that fan base? With that family?
No, I know, but I figured he would just be sent on. I didn't think there'd be a trade.
Oh, what do you mean? Oh, he'd be cut.
Yeah, more than likely.
Whatever.
He'd be made a free agent.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay.
But free agent? Sure wouldn't be a free agent.
Well, if he were let go, he'd be a free agent.
Oh, so okay. I didn't understand that
He'd be
you
made
thought
a
they
free
would just-
agent by being let go. I don't want to bog it down. Go ahead. Keep saying what you were going to say.
Either way, I am a little surprised at how the whole thing played out, as I think both sides almost, by saying nothing about all the work they were doing to get Shedeur ready, did they kind of make things worse, both of them? Because it built up, the Shedeur army would come after the Browns every day and say, you're doing everything you can to, make sure he's not being put in the best light. And then on the other side of things, I never heard Stefanski talking about all the extra stuff they were doing with Shedeur. How did that help the situation, or did that fan the flames?
So you believe Shedeur should have said something about the extra work he was doing?
I don't know why it was such a secret. Why did it need to be a secret? How did that help the situation?
Well, based on Stefanski ain't going to say anything. Then that's not an excuse for him. I don't know. But do you want to? You're talking about a guy who he had no intention on starting even when he started. So you're not going to talk about players you don't intend to start and open up questions about that guy, especially when the guy's as popular as he is and as famous as he is. So I can understand where Kevin wasn't going to say anything, and he wasn't going to say anything anyway. For Shedeur, did Shedeur really want to come out and say how much extra he was doing and fan the flames against his own teammates? No. Why would he say?
But look what
why
it
would
led
he say
to.
anything?
Look what it led to. It led to everybody just assuming the worst.
They could speculate all they want, but he knows the truth.
And because the Browns are bad, because they mishandled the draft, taking I don't care what anybody says.
Okay,
bringing
that's
4
fine.
quarterbacks to camp like they did, and then adding another one.
I'm not fighting you on that.
The whole thing came off as a mess, and it made the Browns look worse. And then it just got everybody to assume that they were going out of their way to make things worse from Shedeur, which made no sense because they weren't. Because behind the scenes, they were working on stuff.
But you wanted
Shedeur admitted it. Later,
basically,
at the end.
I got to tell you, I saw with my very own eyes some of the stuff that they were doing. So I felt good about it, but I wasn't going to say it then. Is this on me?
Wait. You saw what?
I saw a lot of work that there was going on. You walk past, you see things.
So while all these people were saying that the Browns, especially the Shannon Sharps of the world,
and I
the
disagreed with them then.
When they were coming out daily attacking the Browns for the lack of work that Shedeur was getting.
But I
Justina
disagreed with
Anderson.
them. I disagreed with her. Anybody who said that he wasn't working on things, I disagreed with. But for Shedeur, I don't know why you wanted him to say it. It would have made things more difficult. If he's doing all this work and we think he's better, why are the Browns holding him back then? Why is Dylan Gabriel playing before him or Joe Flacco or God knows who? He would just create more problems. I mean, good God, I
kind of feel like all those problems were created by them saying nothing.
I don't think they were. I mean, good God, you had people doing hit pieces on Shedeur Sanders just for saying he was confident after beating the Las Vegas Raiders. Can you imagine what would have been said if he was saying, yeah, I'm doing all this extra work and all these other things to get ready for this, and then they were still playing all these, not that he was saying they're playing all these other guys in front of me. I mean, people want to went bonkers. He doesn't want to create problems for his teammates. He, of all people, knows the weight of his own words and how people will take them and run with them.
Yeah, I wouldn't have gone bonkers at all. It would have been like, yeah, they're developing.
You wouldn't have gone
developing
bonkers.
the quarterbacks that are on the roster. That's the job of the coaches to do their best. It's not a developmental league. I mean, there's no doubt, like, you don't have a ton of time, especially with the new rules in the CBA of practices. There's a union rep there.
But Anthony,
they're not going to be allowed to go a half hour late just to help Shedeur.
But
it's
Anthony,
not a charity case.
You're reasonable. You just gave me several examples of unreasonable opinions there. He understands that the weight of unreasonable opinions is going to far outweigh anybody who's trying to be reasonable at all. So he wasn't going to say anything. Plus, it undermines his own teammates' work. He wasn't going to do that. There's been far more people who have had more stronger opinions of Shedeur Sanders than anything Shedeur Sanders has ever said.
It would not have undermined the work if you're like, yeah, he's been on scout team all week, because Patrick Mahomes has talked about him being on scout team that first year in Kansas City, and look at how that turned out. It actually helped the situation.
You just told me about a bunch of people giving unreasonable opinions on what Shedeur Sanders wasn't given an opportunity to do. If he comes out and he says he's given these opportunities to do this extra work and do these other things, I think he knows where he was in the pecking order. He knows it only fans the flames of dissension against his own teammates, against his own staff. He doesn't want to do that. I'm sure he has his own opinions, but he's not going to share them publicly.
His fan base would have been upset that he was on scout team getting the same work that Patrick Mahomes was able to get in Kansas City, that he now has later said, hey, help me out. His fan
base would have been mad that he wasn't starting ahead of Dylan Gabriel. His fan base would have been upset that he wasn't getting the reps that Dylan Gabriel was getting ahead of Dylan Gabriel. His fan base believes he's better than Dylan Gabriel. Now, I'm not even a part of the fan base. I believe he's better than Dylan Gabriel, and I thought it was a waste of time to begin with. However, I still wouldn't have made that situation better because I just see what I see. I see a guy with a higher ceiling, but I wouldn't have made that situation better, and I think I'm trying to be reasonable.
I just think
it was much better for him to not say anything.
I hear these guys every day say the Browns were sabotaging him, so I don't think that turned out so well.